Los Angeles is no stranger to drama, but nothing could prepare the Forrester family, and the bold and the beautiful fans, for the unthinkable. Sheila Carter, the most feared woman in town, risking everything to save Steffy Forrester's life. What began as a tense afternoon at the Forrester mansion spiraled into chaos, when Luna Nozawa, under the influence of suppressed trauma and betrayal, turned a weapon on Steffy. In a moment that could have shattered the entire Forrester legacy, it was Sheila, yes, Sheila, who lunged forward, knocking over a stack of art supplies, creating a crucial distraction. That moment of chaos gave Liam Spencer just enough time to act and prevent tragedy. Sheila didn't walk away unscathed. In the struggle, she sustained a leg wound and, perhaps more symbolically, lost another toe. But in that instant, she gained something she had been denied for years, a flicker of redemption. For years, Steffy had drawn a hard line. Sheila was dangerous, manipulative, a woman who had caused unimaginable pain. Finn's mother by blood, yes, but not by heart. And yet, in a stunning twist of fate, the woman Steffy once swore to keep far away from her family may now be the reason she's still alive. The question that lingers like a ghost over the Forrester estate: has Sheila changed? And will Steffy allow herself to believe it? Liam, the eternal protector, has been praised as the hero, and rightly so, but even he can't deny what he saw. Sheila Carter standing between Steffy and death. Finn, tormented by years of distance from his birth mother, now faces an emotional crossroads. And Steffy, she's caught in the middle, torn between trauma and truth. This isn't just another plot twist. It's a game changer, one that could unravel everything or stitch together the most broken pieces of this fractured family. As the sun sets over the city of angels, Steffy sits alone, the weight of gratitude and grief pressing on her chest. The woman who once terrorized her home now haunts her thoughts for a very different reason. What if Sheila Carter deserves a second chance? Stay with us. The next chapter may rewrite everything we thought we knew about the bold and the beautiful. The scene plays over and over again in Steffy's mind, like a nightmare, only real. A once ordinary afternoon had twisted into a battle for survival. Luna Nozawa, heartbroken and unhinged, held the gun with shaking hands, her rage pointed directly at Steffy. Screams echoed, time slowed, and for one breathless moment, it seemed no one would walk away unharmed. But then came the twist no one expected. Sheila Carter moved. From the shadows of the hallway, Sheila's sharp instincts kicked in. Her eyes locked on the gun, on Steffy, and on the trembling figure of Luna. There was no time to think. No time to reflect on the decades of pain and betrayal behind her. There was only the now, and in that now, Sheila made a choice. With a swift, desperate motion, she flung a tray of art supplies to the floor. Paint, brushes, and shards of ceramic exploded across the tiles. The noise jolted Luna's attention, just enough for Liam to crash into the room like a whirlwind, seizing the moment to wrestle the weapon away and bring Luna to the ground. The gun went off. A single shot cracked the air. Sheila cried out, her leg buckling as blood soaked through her jeans. The pain was blinding, but the relief was greater. Steffy was alive. Luna was restrained. The worst had been avoided. In the seconds that followed, the silence was deafening. Liam knelt by Steffy, checking for wounds, while Sheila gasped for breath on the floor. Her face was pale, lined with agony, and something else, hope. For once, she had done something right, something selfless, something that might mean more than all her apologies ever could. Paramedics arrived quickly, but the emotional damage had already begun to unravel. Steffy, trembling and wide-eyed, looked down at the woman she had feared for years. The woman who had once shot her own son, betrayed everyone she touched, and clawed her way back into their lives through manipulation. And yet, there she was, bleeding on the floor for her. "Why?" Steffy whispered. Sheila's voice was cracked, barely audible. "Because he loves you, and you're all he's ever wanted." Those words hit harder than the gunshot. Because in that moment, it wasn't about Sheila trying to redeem herself. It was about Finn, about his happiness, his heart. And that's when something inside Steffy began to shift. The ambulance doors closed behind Sheila, sirens fading into the Los Angeles night. And as the house emptied and silence returned, Steffy was left with a question she had never dared ask. Could it be time to let go of hate? Sheila Carter, the villain of 1,000 episodes, had just rewritten her story with a single act of bravery. The consequences, still unclear, but one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. The morning after the shooting cast a strange stillness over the Forrester estate. The sunlight streaming through the curtains felt too warm, too soft, for what had happened just hours before. Steffi sat on the edge of her bed, her fingers gently wrapped around a mug of untouched coffee. Her hands were steady now, but her heart was a storm. She should have felt safe. Instead, she felt haunted. Every detail of the chaos returned in flashes. The gun, Luna's tear-stained face, the sound of the shot, and most of all, Sheila, crumpled on the floor, bloodied but alive. A memory she never imagined would carry a complicated sort of gratitude. Liam stopped by that morning, his jaw still tight, his voice clipped with tension. He was worried about her, protective, as always. "She's not a hero," he reminded Steffi, arms folded. "Don't forget who she is." But Steffi had already begun to feel something shift. "I know what she's done," she said quietly, "but I also know what she just did." Liam didn't have a response for that. And Steffi didn't press him, because deep inside, a new conflict had taken root, one that had nothing to do with Liam or Ridge or the Forrester family legacy. This one was hers alone. She had spent years building emotional walls, ensuring that Finn would never be seduced by Sheila's manipulations again. And now those walls were cracking, not from pressure, but from uncertainty. Meanwhile, across town, Finn sat in the hospital lounge staring at the doorway of the recovery unit. Behind that door was the woman who gave him life, the same woman who nearly destroyed it. And yet, when he learned the truth about the shooting, something inside him lit up. Not joy, not pride, just possibility. Possibility that maybe, just maybe, his mother had changed. Finn remembered her face when he rushed into the ER hours earlier. Pale, bruised, but smiling. Smiling because she had saved Steffi. Smiling because, despite the pain, she had done something that mattered. Something for him. "She asked about you," the nurse had said. That hit him harder than he expected. And when he finally stood outside her room, too overwhelmed to step inside, he realized just how deeply the moment had affected him. For the first time in months, he wanted to speak to her, not out of obligation, but from a place of genuine curiosity. What changed? Back at the Cliff House, Steffi spoke quietly with her mother, Taylor. The conversation was gentle but edged with unease. "People can change, Steffi," Taylor offered. "It doesn't mean you should trust her, but maybe it means you can listen." That night, alone again, Steffi walked the halls of her home and paused at the portrait of her family. Her children, Finn, and herself. Smiling, radiant. Then she thought of Sheila. Not the villain in her memories, but the woman who jumped in front of danger. Tears welled in her eyes, for once not from fear, but from a strange mix of grief and gratitude. Sheila Carter had done the impossible, and now Steffi Forrester was left with the even harder task, deciding what comes next. John Finn Finnegan had always carried a quiet ache inside him, an ache that came from unanswered questions, missing memories, and the complicated truth of having a mother like Sheila Carter. Raised by Lee, grounded in stability and love, Finn had everything except a complete identity, and no matter how many times he pushed Sheila away, a part of him always wanted to understand her, to fill the void. Now, after the events of the shooting, that ache returned with a new intensity. He stood outside Sheila's hospital room for the second day in a row, fingers nervously drumming against his leg. The nurse had told him she was awake, recovering, that she had refused painkillers, saying she wanted to stay sharp in case he came to visit. Him, her son. With a deep breath, Finn stepped in. The room was dim, the blinds half drawn, sunlight slicing across the sheets. Sheila lay on the bed, her face pale and lips cracked, but her eyes, those intense, haunting eyes, lit up the moment they met his. "Finn," she whispered, as if saying his name made her pain vanish. He hesitated near the door, unsure. The silence stretched between them. "I didn't expect you," she added, "but I hoped." Finn took a seat by her side, careful to avoid the IV line. "You saved her life." Sheila winced, adjusting her leg, which was bandaged heavily. "Not fast enough maybe, but I'd do it again." The moment was fragile, like glass balanced on the edge of a table. One wrong word, and it could all shatter. "I don't understand you," Finn admitted. "You say you love me, but then you disappear. You hurt people I care about. You lie." Sheila nodded, tears slipping down her cheek. "And yet here you are." Finn didn't answer. He didn't need to. The fact that he came meant everything. "You know," Sheila continued, her voice raw, "I lost another toe." She gave a dry, painful laugh. I guess I'm running out. Finn managed a weak smile. You'll still find a way to walk all over people. That made them both laugh. And for a moment, they weren't mother and son separated by years of trauma. They were two wounded souls, searching for understanding. Do you think she'll ever forgive me? Sheila asked, her voice trembling. Finn looked down. I don't know, but I think she might be open to you being part of my life. Carefully, on my terms. Sheila clutched his hand, startled by hope. That's all I ever wanted. But Finn pulled away gently. No, Mom, that's what I want. But it comes with boundaries. One misstep, and I'll walk away. This is your last chance. Sheila nodded slowly, absorbing the weight of his words. He stood up, ready to leave. At the door, he paused. I'm not here because I trust you, he said without turning. I'm here because you saved the woman I love. And I needed to say, thank you. When the door clicked shut behind him, Sheila lay in silence, a single tear sliding into the pillow. She had earned a moment, a sliver of something she never thought she'd have again. Hope. Il Giardino was unusually quiet that morning. The air was thick with tension as Steffy Forrester entered the restaurant, her heels clicking softly against the tile floor. Dressed in muted tones, her hair pulled back in a tight bun, she looked every bit the composed businesswoman, except for the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. She had asked Sheila to meet her here, on neutral ground. Not at the Cliff House, not at the hospital, and certainly not somewhere public enough to make a scene. Just quiet enough for truth to surface. Sheila was already there, seated in a booth in the far corner, a pair of dark sunglasses shielding her still bruised face. Her leg, stiff from the injury, rested awkwardly beneath the table, but her body tensed the moment she saw Steffy approach. Steffy, she greeted carefully, not warm, not cold, just cautious. Steffy sat down across from her, no pleasantries, no drink orders, just silence, and the weight of a decade of chaos hanging between them. I didn't come here for an apology, Steffy began. Sheila nodded. Good, because words wouldn't be enough. There was a long pause. You saved my life, Steffy admitted, her voice steady but strained. You stepped in when Luna had the gun. You didn't hesitate. Sheila's lips trembled. I didn't do it to prove anything. I did it because you mattered to Finn. And if you had died, he would have broken. I couldn't let that happen. Steffy stared at her, searching for signs of deceit, of manipulation. But what she saw instead was exhaustion, regret, and something that terrified her even more, sincerity. You've hurt so many people, Sheila, Steffy said, her tone tightening. You've ruined lives. You almost destroyed mine. I will never forget what you've done. Sheila lowered her gaze. I don't expect you to. But, Steffy continued, you did something I can't ignore, and I've been trying to figure out what it means. She leaned forward, her voice low. Finn deserves peace. He deserves answers. And if seeing you helps him find them, I won't stand in the way. Sheila's eyes snapped up wide with disbelief. You mean, I'm not giving you a place in my life, or in my children's, let's be clear, Steffy said firmly. But I won't stop Finn from seeing you, if he chooses to. I won't poison his heart with my pain. Sheila's breath caught in her throat. That's more than I ever hoped for. This isn't forgiveness, Steffy warned. It's a test. One mistake, one manipulation, and it's over. I'll shut that door and never look back. I understand, Sheila whispered. I swear, I'll be careful. They sat in silence again, but the air felt different now. Not warm, not friendly, but less charged. Steffy stood up, grabbing her bag. He might want to meet you here for lunch. Keep things quiet. Respect that. She turned to leave but paused. And one more thing. Sheila held her breath. Don't make me regret this. With that, Steffy walked away, her figure disappearing through the front entrance, leaving Sheila sitting alone in the booth, shaking, overwhelmed, but clinging to something new. A second chance, however fragile, however temporary. She had been given a sliver of light in a life filled with shadows. Now, it was up to her to prove she could live in it. The days that followed were quiet, but not peaceful. Steffy kept her decision private, choosing not to inform Ridge, Hope, or even Taylor just yet. She needed space to process what she'd done, to weigh the consequences before facing the judgment. But even in that silence, the tension rippled beneath the surface. At the Cliff House, Finn noticed the difference. His wife wasn't as guarded. Her tone softened when his birth mother's name came up. And when he tentatively mentioned that he was considering seeing Sheila again, just to talk, nothing more, Steffy didn't say no. She only nodded and said, "Make your own decision, but remember who she is." Finn took that to heart. The first time he saw Sheila after that conversation, it was at Il Giardino, just like Steffy suggested. The table was set for two, a quiet lunch, no big scenes. Just mother and son, face to face in the light of day, no longer hiding behind hospital curtains or past betrayals. They didn't speak much, but it was enough. A new chapter was opening slowly, cautiously. Sheila didn't push. She didn't cry or beg. She simply listened. When Finn spoke about his childhood, about the emptiness of not knowing her, she just smiled sadly. For once, she didn't try to rewrite history. She simply owned her truth. Meanwhile, Liam grew suspicious. He noticed the shift in Steffy's behavior, and when he heard rumors that Finn had been spotted dining with Sheila, his concern boiled over. In a tense scene between Liam and Steffy, he confronted her. "She doesn't change, Steffy. We've been here before." But Steffy stood her ground. "I'm not trusting her. I'm trusting him." That was the difference. She wasn't giving Sheila redemption. She was giving Finn autonomy. And yet, deep in her heart, Steffy knew the danger hadn't vanished. It never really does in Los Angeles, not when Sheila Carter is involved. One misstep, one emotional slip, and everything could unravel again. But for now, the door was open, just a crack. And in the world of the bold and the beautiful, even the smallest opening can lead to an avalanche of drama, betrayal, and redemption. Because love is complicated, family is messy, and forgiveness, it's the most unpredictable plot of all. Hello and goodbye. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the next explosive chapter of The Bold and the Beautiful. Will Sheila truly redeem herself? Or is this calm just the prelude to another storm? Can Finn reconcile the past with his future? And will Steffy's uneasy peace come back to haunt her? Only time and the next episodes will tell. If you enjoyed this preview, don't forget to like, comment with your theories, and subscribe for more exclusive B&B updates. Your support helps us keep the drama going. Hello and goodbye.